Hey everybody, George Levy here. I've prepared this video for you to talk about the upcoming August 1st deadline that's taking place on the Bitcoin network. There is an important moment happening on August 1st where there might be what is called a fork, where the chain will split. If a chain were to split, and there's different variations, there's a soft fork, there's a hard fork, and I explain all of it in the upcoming video. But what's most important is that there are steps that you should take to make sure that you can capitalize on this opportunity. Because not only does it present a risk, but it also presents a big reward opportunity. And the only way you can do that is if you take the right steps. So for that, I prepared an instructional video that tells you what you need to do, and additionally assembled a series of resources that I've included in a link below this video. These are resources from the Blockchain Institute of Technology, as well as Bits Online, our media partner. Let's explore now exactly what's going to happen on August 1st and why it is a deadline. We'll talk about what it is and how you can prepare for it, and so you can be ready when it actually does happen, if it happens. So what exactly is going on? What really is happening is that Bitcoin will be undergoing on that date a upgrade. It is being referred to as an upgrade, mostly because it addresses some limitations that Bitcoin has, and I will go into details into what these different limitations are. But the reason why it's relevant and why it's so important, this August 1st deadline, is that there may be a possible fork or a chain split. The chain split really means that right now you've had the same Bitcoin blockchain all the way from the Genesis block, same chain, so that's why you have one Bitcoin, and every single Bitcoin transaction that happens on the blockchain for the Bitcoin network. But on August 1st there may be a possible split, in which case there would be additional blockchains, and there wouldn't be just one Bitcoin. There would be different variations of Bitcoin, and each one of them would act as a separate cryptocurrency. One of the reasons why this is happening, or the primary reason why this is happening, is over something called the Bitcoin scaling dispute, which is basically the fact that Bitcoin has a limit size of 1 megabyte for every block. What this creates is a major limitation for Bitcoin for it to scale and be able to grow like it needs to grow. You may have seen that Bitcoin has been having a lot of problems with times of transactions and having to wait, interminable amounts of times to actually have your transactions processed. Additionally to that, Bitcoin transaction fees have also gone through the roof. And the reason is that people are having to pay additional transaction fees to give preferential treatment to their transactions so that they can actually be processed. How does this matter? Well, the block size in Bitcoin is 1 megabyte currently, and there are thousands of transactions that are trying to fit into that 1 megabyte block every 10 minutes. So the problem is, if you have a transaction that needs to be processed, how do you actually make sure that your transaction gets put there? So what you do is you pay a transaction fee, and that transaction fee, as they get higher, gives you preferential treatment. Think of it like you're on the expressway, and all of a sudden you see there's an express lane that you can pay an additional toll, and you can take a side road to actually get to the front of the line and get, to where you want to be and bypass all the traffic. That's what's going on right now with Bitcoin. In order for people to get the transactions processed, they're having to pay additional transaction fees and higher transaction fees so that the miners will actually give them preferential treatment and get them processed in the blocks that are there. So the reason why there's this upgrade planned for August 1st is to actually implement something called segregated witness, or SegWit, which is a series of modifications and changes to the Bitcoin protocol that will address things such as the scaling dispute, but also other elements that need to be addressed in the Bitcoin network. This is being triggered by something called a user-activated soft fork, and this comes out of a Bitcoin Improvement Proposal number 148, also known as BIP 148. It's basically a line on the sand that says, you know what, come August 1st, whether you like it or not, we will be implementing SegWit. And what happens is the mining pools around the world, many of them have not signed up to support SegWit. As a result, there's no guarantees that SegWit will be done. So this user-activated soft fork will take place on August 1st, at which point, if the rest of the nodes do not join on board and start signaling SegWit, there will be a split in the chain. There are other modifications being suggested and approaches to address this scaling process, and some of them actually involve what would be known as a hard fork.
that would also break the chain into multiple currencies, and there would be multiple different Bitcoins because of that. So all of this will be happening on August 1st. And this is what we're leading up right now. And you may have seen it in the fact that the Bitcoin price seems to be very volatile and has been dropping as a lot of people are, making moves before this August 1st deadline. So what would happen in the case of a hard fork? And let me tell you exactly what a hard fork would entail. In the case of a hard fork, what you would have is that the chain would split in 2 or more chains. In which case, you wouldn't have just one Bitcoin, you would actually have one Bitcoin for each one of these chains that would get created after the fork. So there may be 2 chains, or there may be more than 2 chains, but it still hasn't been determined. What you need to keep into consideration is that it's not that you get multiple coins of Bitcoin. No, what you would get is different currencies of these Bitcoin chains. So there would be a type of Bitcoin and there would be a completely different currency, which would also be a Bitcoin, but it wouldn't be the same. And you need to make sure that you're able to take advantage of that. So what it really translates into is that after a fork, you have 2 or more different currencies. And there's a precedent to this. As a matter of fact, Ethereum had a hard fork, and that fork actually split the Ethereum cryptocurrency into 2 flavors. There's Ethereum with the code ETH, and there's Ethereum Classic with the code ETC. And this actually took place because of a hard fork that was done as a countermeasure against the hacking of the DAO, which is the Decentralized Autonomous Organization. And after that hacking happened, Ethereum decided to do a hard fork, at which point Ethereum broke into 2 different currencies. And currently, if you go out there, there are Ethereum tokens. So you have Ethereum, the ETH currency, and you also have Ethereum Classic, which is ETC. Now, should that happen with Bitcoin, you need to be able to be prepared in order to be able to capture these multiple currencies. And in order to do that, you need to truly own your wallet keys. What does that really mean? It means that you need to know the public and the private keys that correspond to your wallet so that you actually have real control of the tokens or the coins that you would have with Bitcoin. If you have your tokens or you have your Bitcoins in an exchange, you do not truly have the wallet keys. As a matter of fact, what you have is you're at the mercy of what the exchange decides to do. And there is a precedent for this because when Ethereum split into multiple currencies, some exchanges did not give access to both coins. What you got was one or the other. And that may be exactly what could happen in this case. So you need to be prepared to know that if there were to be a hard fork and there were multiple currencies of Bitcoin, the only way that you can get access to both the 2 types of Bitcoins or multiple types of Bitcoins is if you truly own your wallet and your wallet keys. I want to put into context that I am not recommending that you take on this hard fork if you are currently owning Bitcoin, and it doesn't mean that you need to own your Bitcoin. Another option may be that you may want to cash out before this August 1st deadline and actually move to fiat currency. Some people do. The people that want to ride out the change and this upgrade stand to have the opportunity to have their 1 Bitcoins turn into multiple Bitcoins. And in order to do that, you need to be able to have the Bitcoin in advance of this planned upgrade and at the same time have a wallet and have the keys corresponding to that wallet so that you truly own the Bitcoins. In order to help you in this process, I have assembled a list of links that tell you more about what you can do to prepare for this possible hard fork. You can view it at blockchaininformer.com/prepare. And I have given you links to multiple resources that we have made available from the Blockchain Institute of Technology, as well as bits online. So I invite you to visit blockchaininformer.com/prepare, and those are your instructions of what to do in case of a hard fork.
I hope you found valuable the information that I presented to you right now, and that you're able to use the instructions I delivered to you to better protect yourself and prepare yourself for this incredible opportunity that's happening. A chain split like this is a historic moment in Bitcoin. It could potentially be the beginning of a whole new series of cryptocurrencies, and you would own the initial coins in it. For every 1 Bitcoin you have, you would have coins in all these other cryptocurrencies. So it's a very important moment, and I hope that the information I delivered to you is valuable and helps you along through these steps. For Blockchain Institute of Technology, I'm George Levy. We're changing the world 1 blockchain at a time.